Good morning, lads and lassies. My background music is still playing. I hope you are all well. It is great to be back live streaming again. It's been so long since I've done a proper live stream. I I know I always say I can't stay too long, guys. 4 hours later, right, guys, I'm gonna get off now. But no, seriously, I can't stay too long today. So I've got to take a bit of a road trip today. Not a crazy long one, but I've got to go for like a 2 or 3 hour drive today with a van full of stuff. So I need to leave at I need to leave here the house at 12:30, and I got a few things I need to do beforehand. So I'll be out of here within the hour most likely. Um, excuse my face. So anyway, I'm home. I'm back in Ireland. I've been back now for a while, and it is feeling great. It really, really is. I love Australia. I really do, and I loved living there. It was awesome to live there. But it is so good to be back. It's good to be around my family and seeing some old friends and all that kind of stuff. It's absolutely awesome. The vibe here is totally different as well. A lot of people ask me what's the difference, between Ireland and Australia and how it feels to be back home. And I always say the same thing. It just feels awesome. It feels awesome. One quite regular conversation that I have is when I go to the store. Um, no matter what store you go into, hardware store, gas station, whatever, you always seem to get into like a big conversation with people, and I miss that. Australia, the people there are amazing. They're beautiful, kind, warm, loving people. But on the surface, sometimes it's not quite like that. It might come across that people are a little bit not sour, but maybe a little bit cold or a little bit hard, maybe on the outside. But once you get to know Aussies of pretty much any type, they're just amazing. I love them. I really love my Aussie friends. But in Ireland, there's more of that stereotypical friendliness, that upfront friendliness, that I love. I just love it. And another huge difference I noticed was the friendliness, the difference between young people here and young people in Australia. Um, I got the impression that young people, and when I say young people, I mean like between like 16 and 20, 22, whatever. They don't seem to really care about much, or like they don't seem to be overly friendly. Whereas here, the young people are just as friendly as the older people. They all chat away to you, and I miss that, and I love it. It's so great to be back. And like the conversation I was talking about that I regularly have in the store is I'll go in, I go to pay for something, and I still have my Australian bank card because trying to get a bank account set up in Ireland in pandemic times is not easy. And but anyway, so I'd have my Aussie bank card, and it doesn't work with the pay and go thing, so you have to put it in and sign for it. And they go, "Oh, Australia Bank. Oh, cool. Were you in Australia?" And then usually I say the joke, "No, I just found this card." And then they go, and I'm like, "No, I'm kidding. I was there for 5 years." "Oh, my cousin was here. Where were you?" "Oh, I was in Perth." And oh, my cousin was there. And so we get chatting, and they always ask me what's the best thing about being home, and I say things like this: being able to have these conversations is something that you don't really get in Australia. When you go into a store, it's business, quick, no fucking around, and then they check your bags when you leave the store, which I hate. But anyway, um, so yeah, it's that's the thing that I always say to them. Conversations like this are what I miss the most. Being able to just go in and chat to people, and it's great. Um, so since I moved back, it's been hectic, really, really, really hectic. Taking care of my in laws and stuff like that. I say taking care of my in laws. That's not quite right. My mother in law takes care of me. Really, she does. She insists on doing my washing. She irons my clothes, and in return, I do a lot of the kind of hardware and building work around the house. And I there's always something to do. My father-in-law has been sick for a good number of years now, and as a man who was incredibly skilled with tools, he started doing up this house and garden when he found out that he got sick, because he wanted to make sure that it would be up to standard before he got sicker, or just in case, so that it wouldn't be a burden on my mother-in-law. And so he started, but sadly he had gotten worse and couldn't do any more. So there was an abundance of essentially unfinished jobs to do when I came home. And thankfully he has an immense collection of tools, and so that made it much easier for me to be able to do what I needed to do. And so yeah, I've been building and painting and doing flooring and about to start doing some roofing. I built a chicken coop and bought some chickens. I've just been working nonstop, and it's been great. It's been great for my physical and mental health, actually. Physically, I've lost even more weight, which is great. And I've put on a ton of muscle from all of the, pulling and dragging of, blocks and digging out massive flower beds that were completely overrun with roots. I'll give you guys a funny little story. We were down in the back of the garden. It's quite a large garden by Irish, suburban standards. So it's like, maybe 50 or 60 feet long, which, for some people in the world would be nothing. For others would be, oh my God. And down the back, there's this incredible vegetable patch. And it's about maybe 2 meters wide, maybe more, maybe nearly 3 meters wide, and about 6 or 7 meters long, the whole length of the back of the garden. And it is without a doubt some of the most fertile soil I've ever seen in my life. It is like that color. It is black and soft, and the worms in that soil, that's always a good indicator of how healthy your garden is, how many and how big your worms are. So I was digging that out, and the worms were like that long and that thick and so healthy, and just insects everywhere, butterflies and bees and wasps and all sorts of creatures. So it's a good sign of the health of the ground. But anyway, the weeds had gotten out of control. I'm not talking about a few dock leaves here and there. I'm talking literally 7 or 8 foot weeds, with trunks. Like, I'm not like trunks, not stems, trunks, and roots that went down like 5 or 6 feet. And so I'm in there. Get this. I go into we have a fantastic shed packed to the rafters, literally, with toys, essentially. Every manner of tool that you can imagine, from woodworking tools, metalworking tools, about 12 different types of saw, measuring equipment, routers, what else is in there? Chainsaws, hedge trimmers, you name it, he has it. And thankfully I've had the use of those. And so I went into this shed and I pulled out one of those, those little hand rakes for digging out weeds. I thought to myself, I'll go out there with the weed whacker, knock down all the heads off the weeds, clear them up and burn them straight away so that they don't spread their seeds, because everything had gone to seed. And then I was going to use this little hand tool to pull out the weeds. Oh, no, my friends. No, no, no. That would never do. The first weed that I tried to pull, I was like trying to wrench it out, and I broke the hand tool. So I ended up actually having to go in with a pickaxe and a special kind of a weed fork. It's like a regular garden fork, but it's got a curve on the end for pulling up weed roots. And so literally hundreds of weeds. and I had to dig every single one out by hand, every single weed. And so I spent probably 6 hours the other day tackling that garden bed. And I was at the back of the yard, and Mrs. Demon decided to come down to check on progress. And when she came down, she said, "How long have you been out here, darling?" She's never called me darling in her life, but anyway, she was like, "How long have you been down here?" I was like, 6 hours. The sweat now, folks, was running down my face so bad that I had to tie like a piece of fabric around here to stop the sweat going into my eyes. It was so hot, and I was working harder than I think I've ever worked in my life. And so I'm digging out these weeds, and I made about that much progress on the ground in 6 hours. That's probably a bit hyperbolic, maybe a meter and a half of progress, and only like 50 centimeters deep of progress. And she was like, "Really? 6 hours and that's all you've gotten done?" Oh man. I was like, "Here you go, lady." I handed her the thing, and I was like, "Try pull one of those weeds up. Just one. And then I'll accept that I'm too slow." Man, oh man. She stuck the fork into the ground and went shoop, and this huge weed came out. This root was almost as tall as, well, not as tall as me. It came up to my nipple. I think I got a photograph of it, actually. I'll show you guys. I've actually been recording a lot of that work, and I'm going to be putting it on my other channel. We'll get to that in a minute. If I forget, remind me to talk to you guys about the Irish Demon Reloaded channel. But anyway, she pulled out the weed in, I would say, 5 seconds. She put the fork in the ground. Now, bearing in mind, I had done all of the work loosening it up with a pickaxe. She pulled it right out of the ground like it was nothing, and then handed the weed to me and said, "Do you want to go in and do the painting, and I'll do the weeds?" And I was like, the smugness killed me. Just give me 1 second, folks. I just got to take a quick... Sorry about that, folks. I just had to take a quick call. I'm actually selling my motorcycle today, the black and red one that some of you folks may have seen. Reason being, it's an absolutely awesome motorcycle, and that's why I need to get on to what I was talking about with the other channel, just to give you guys a bit of a rundown of what's going on over there. And the motorbike actually ties into that quite a lot. So this motorbike that I bought, it's a Suzuki Savage 650. It's a bike that has been on my wanted list for a very long time, and they're next to impossible to get these days, because most of them have been crashed, basically, because people used to use them as little burners. They were really quick, really fun little bikes. And so I bought it before I moved back from Australia. It was a dream of mine to have that bike. My brother had one, and so I was jealous of him when I was a kid, and so I decided to get one. And one came up for sale, bobbed, like chopped, beautiful. So I bought it. My friend Pa, who has a shipping company, went up and picked it up for me so that it was there when I came home. And the reason I did that was because I guess with the, with the ADHD and some of the other kind of no, I wouldn't say like necessarily mental health issues that I've had, but like stresses that I've had, and I sometimes do get frustrated quite easily, again with the ADHD, when it was untreated or whatever. So I wanted to have a motorcycle for when I came home so that I could just jump on it and go out for a nice long spin and get the last kind of few weeks of good weather in Ireland. And so I had that bike for when I came home, and I love it. I've been all over the country with it. I've been to rallies with it. I've rode out with our local MC, which I just recently became an official hang around for, which is cool. And it's a great bike, but for what I want to do with my other channel, it's not fit for purpose, basically. As I was saying, it's a bit of a chopper bobber type bike, which is like a cut down kind of, yeah, like a chopper, basically. And so it's not ideal for carrying equipment, and I need to be able to carry camera equipment, microphones, and sleeping gear even, because I'll be doing some camping and things like that. And literally the bike only can carry me and a backpack. There's no back on it, basically, so it's a proper kind of little chopper looking thing. And it's also extremely loud, like outrageously loud. So over long distance, it gets a bit irritating. And the other thing is that because it's a chopper and it's got a chopper seat on it, that's that width, that height, I guess, the thickness of it, it's incredibly uncomfortable over long distance. So I was walking like John Wayne after my first long ride on it. But I love the bike, but I can't have two bikes basically sitting outside the front of the house. So what I did was I actually put a deposit on another bike, which I'm extremely excited about. My first Harley Davidson, and I got it outrageously cheap. Outrageously cheap. It's a gentleman I know owns a Harley Davidson dealership, and he rang me and was like, you know, I know you've been looking for one. I've got a really good one here for you. It's only got 3,000 miles on the clock, and it is simply immaculate. It's got Harley Davidson proper pannier bags, all the add-ons that you can imagine. Basically, the guy that owned it just had it as like a toy, essentially, and he just used it to, nip around from time to time on a sunny day, and kept it in mint condition, something to show his buddies when they came over. And so yeah, I put a deposit on it, but in order for me to be able to afford to actually pay the rest of it, I have to sell my bike as well. So I'm meeting a gentleman up the country today, so I've got the van full of stuff, bikes in there, the trailer ramp thing is in there. So he's buying it today, and hopefully next week I'll be able to go down and get my new bike. Which leads me to the next part of our conversation. But before we do, I would like to read a quick super chat. Doctor Who, an old follower of this channel and a great friend of the channel for an outrageous amount of time. And a long-standing moderator, Doctor Who, says, for €5, nice to see you back, Demon. Doctor Who, thank you so much, my friend. And to loads of you out there that are watching, some of you folks have been supporting this channel through thick and thin for well over a year now. And it, not to sound hyperbolic about this, I really try not to, but it genuinely has been a life-changing experience. Getting to know a lot of you folks and having you folks as part of my channel and my life has been a life-changing experience, really. I've always been a performer. I've always loved to tell stories. I've always loved to make people laugh and be creative. It's just something that I have always done. As a child, I was an actor up until the age of about 18 is when I kind of trailed off from that again. But I'm hoping to get back into it. But I've so much on my plate right now that I can't really do anything. But so yeah, having this opportunity to be able to make YouTube videos to a level where it's made it worth my while to do it has been a dream come true for me, to be quite frank. It's I've always said about my YouTube channel, it was never about the money or anything like that, but the way I like to do things, I like to do things to the best of my ability and to put everything into it. And as you guys saw over the past month, because I've been so busy with, getting my stuff ready in Australia to move here and actually moving here, and then all of the things I've had to do since I've come home, which I've enjoyed. I mean, I really have enjoyed every minute that I've spent in that garden. It's been amazing. My friend Alex comes over every week pretty much and gives me a hand, and it was a beautiful transition home to be able to meet amazing people and to be able to keep myself active and busy, and then to just have such a wonderful family anyway, made it so much easier. My parents are amazing. My brothers are incredible. They're just awesome people. And then, obviously Mrs. Demon has been my rock for 12 years now. We've been together 12 years. Her mom is one of the nicest, kindest, warmest, funniest people that I know. She really is. Like, there's not a day that goes by that we don't spend at least an hour just laughing about stuff, having the time of our lives. We went to my mom and dad's house last night for a bit of dinner thing, and we just laughed, all of us, for like 5 hours, or well, not 5 hours, like 3 hours. We just telling stories and just having a good time. It was really, really great. And seeing my nieces and my little nephew, who the last time I saw was a teeny tiny baby, all grown up, running around, calling me Uncle John. Like, I love that. I love that. It's so nice to be around my family again. And my younger brother, who lives in England, he's planning a trip home soon. Next year we're all going to Portugal for my older brother's wedding. It's awesome. It's so great to be home. Anyway, so that's what I was saying. It was never really about the money, but being able to make YouTube one of my kind of, main incomes and things like that has allowed me to develop, I guess, as a person. I know that sounds really like, oh, you need to develop yourself as a person. But no, genuinely it has, because I've met so many of you guys on here, and I I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I've developed friendships with people whose name I only know on the screen. I don't even know what most of you folks look like, but I've developed these really deep, incredible friendships where a lot of you guys have supported me deeply in so many ways, not just financially, but also supporting my channel, always liking and commenting, hint, hint, sending links to friends, just dropping me a message if I was going through hard times, and then sticking with me through the tough times, like when I got demonetized that time. That was a huge hit. And when we were moving here and I didn't have time to make videos, and you guys all understood, and you continue to support the channel, you continue to be there for me and to be there for my family ultimately. When I came home, and the lads did a whip around, and they sent me like nearly €500 to get me set up back here in Australia. Sorry, back here in Ireland. That blew me away. I mean, there's so many of you that were involved in that. I had no idea, and it blew me away. We did a welcome back video on Limey Play's channel, a welcome back stream, and I was completely blindsided by it. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And it couldn't have come at a better time, because we were having issues with our bank in Australia, and we had a lot of costs, I guess, over here. Like we had to pay all this stuff for the dogs. I had to get a whole load of stuff for the house, because I wanted to come back here and use some of the money that I'd made from YouTube and from other things, and from selling things in Australia, like our household stuff in Australia, to start doing up this house, because this is where my in-laws of 12 years have been living, and this is the home that we've been welcomed into, because trying to rent in Ireland would be impossible. It'd be absolutely impossible. And so I wanted to do my very best for them. And so once that money came through, I was able to buy, like, all the gravel that I needed. I needed to buy 5 tons of gravel, which half of which has been moved by hand, by my hand and Alex's hand, into the backyard to fill up some big, massive holes that were dug. And, to buy like some little tools I needed and things like that. And it was just, it took a huge weight off my shoulders, actually. It took a massive amount of stress off my shoulders. So it was awesome. But again, thank you all so much. And again, it's not just the financial support, but also the emotional support. So many of you have reached out and and sent messages of support just randomly. I can't thank you guys enough. Really, it's just been awesome to have such an awesome group of people that have sat with me through everything. And some of you guys I would know probably more than others on a personal level. But I love to get to know all of you folks. It's awesome. Skeptic Dank, someone I was just we like just as an example. We were on the phone for like a half an hour the other day, just chatting away, giving each other support, and it was just awesome, you know. So I couldn't have made those friendships if I wasn't able to continue doing YouTube the way I have. But Skeptic Dank, thank you so much for $2 says, how do the pups feel about the chickens? Right. I'll tell you how the pups feel about the chickens. Floki, if you guys recall, is the kind of blondie colored dog. The really, really soft, cute little baby. He has no interest. He doesn't even know they exist. Let me see. I have an absolutely hilarious picture. So I built this beautiful chicken coop, and I built it on the dark soil on one of the beds and put sand down on the soil. The reason you do that basically is chickens love to dig around, so I didn't want to give them a hard floor, so I gave them loads of soil. But what it does mean is that once a week or so, I need to go in with a big bucket of soil and just fill it back up because they dig little holes or whatever. And you know who else loves digging? Minnie Mouse, my little chihuahua. She loves digging, and she also loves the chickens. She also thinks that she is a chicken. I'm just sending myself pictures here to my Mac so that I can show you what this little... I don't want to be mean about my dog. This little lady decided that she wanted to do, right? So I'll give you guys the brief background story. Then I need to tell you about the new channel, and I need to tell you about what happened with all of my stuff coming from Australia. So Minnie Mouse likes to wander a little bit. So we have to be extremely careful with where we let her go, because she is really tiny. Like, for anyone who has a chihuahua, she's probably smaller. Like, she fits in the palm of my hand. So you have to be really, really careful, because, you know, if you got like a bird of prey or anything, would take her in an instant. Also, in the area we live, there's a certain group of people that love to steal little tiny dogs because they're worth a lot of money here. So anyway, Floki was sat next to me. I was sitting down having a smoke with Jen's mom. And Jen came out and was like, I can't find Minnie. I was like, okay, calm down. She's probably just running around the garden somewhere. So we looked around the garden, no sign of Minnie. Now, again, she's a teeny tiny chihuahua. She, to give you an example of how small she is, when I'm lying down on the couch and I've got my iPad open watching a video, I can just see the top of her head over it when she stands there. And she has to look up over it to get my attention, which she regularly does, and put her little chin on my iPad. Anyway, couldn't find Minnie. We searched the house because she likes to burrow into clothes and stuff like that. We searched the house. We searched the backyard. Somebody left the side gate open. So we were freaking out. She's gone out onto the road. So Minnie, I love Floki with all my heart. He's an amazing little dog. But Minnie, I wouldn't say she's my favorite. I don't have a favorite, but she's my baby. She's my little lady. So I went and I was searching everywhere, running up and down the road, shouting, Minnie Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Minnie Mouse. All the new neighbors like, oh my God, who's this crazy guy that moved in our street? I'm like, Minnie Mouse, Minnie Mouse. So I came back. I said, Jed, I can't find Minnie. I'm going to get on the motorbike. I'm just going to drive around the block, make sure somebody hasn't got her or she hasn't turned up somewhere. Now, I was genuinely freaking out at this point because I love those dogs, and you know, I spent most of the money I had saved up to bring them back home with us because I couldn't leave them there. There's no way I would leave them there. And I was freaking out. So I'm looking around, couldn't find her. And I was like, right, where's my motorbike helmet? I got to go out looking for this dog. And Jen said it's over on the chicken coop. Because I'd come in from being on the bike and I was feeding the chooks and I put my helmet on the chicken coop. Well, I went out and I saw all my lovely chickens, and in among them was a very unusual looking chicken, which was quite a bit smaller than the other ones. And I will show you what that chicken looks like. That chicken looks like my little dog, Minnie Mouse. And as you can see, she knew that she got caught. she knew that she wasn't meant to be in there. She's super sweet though. Like, I mean, she goes and checks the chickens every single time she goes outside the door. That's the first thing she does. She goes, checks, make sure the chickens are all good. This is how I found her. Excuse my crazy haircut in the background there. She had mud all over her face. She was absolutely covered in mud. Her paws were gross and full of mud, and she scared the ever living shit out of me. All of us, we were all like freaking out that Minnie was gone missing, because like Jen's parents love the dogs too. And so anyway, I was like, how did she get into the coop? I was like, I am sure this coop is extremely secure. I mean, I built it really strong and really tough, and I can sit on top of the coop. That's how strong this thing is. And then I found a tiny hole. I was like, nah, there's no way she can get through there. So I filled up other areas where I thought it might be. And then the following day, we're sitting out having a smoke in the sun, and Jen's mom goes, oh, Minnie's inside the coop again. I was like, what? I was like, how the fuck did she get in the coop again? I couldn't believe it, because I had patched up every single conceivable way into this coop, right? So I went in, took her out. I was like, my dog is magic. She can fit in anywhere. What the hell? So anyway, I was racking my brains, couldn't figure out how the dog got into the coop. So I was like, all right, well, like, I need to rethink this coop, because if she can get in, a small fox could get in, or a cat could get in and kill my chickens. And I love the chickens, by the way. They're fucking awesome. But anyway, so I said to Jen, so I gave out to Minnie. I was like, Minnie, you shouldn't be in the coop. And she does the whole, And so she won't go into the coop if I'm there. But as soon as my back is turned, she looks up to see if I'm watching, one paw up, and then she trots over like a little sneaky bastard over to the coop, and I watched her get in. What she did was, she's so clever, it actually scares me, like with the things she plots. She used her nose to flick the little latch back. There's like a little... yeah, I'll show it to you guys sometime. The little latch. She slips the latch back. Not the latch to the main door, thankfully, otherwise the chooks would have gotten out. The latch to the nesting box. And she squeezes in through the nesting box, through the coop, and out into the run where the chickens are. I couldn't believe it. I was like, how? Like, what got me is this, right? Not that she could physically do it. I mean, she, it's not that strong. So yeah, she could physically do it, but how she had the thought process to look at that chicken coop and go, I'm going to use my tiny nose to move that. And then before it swings back, use my head to wedge it open and then slide in. And I was like, that dog is literally smarter than me. Like, I would never, I literally couldn't figure it out. Like, my dog figured out how to get into the coop better than me, the guy who built it. So yeah, the dogs love the chickens. Floki kind of watches them from a distance because he's a little bit nervous. Minnie doesn't give a shit. Minnie's ride or die. She's down, man. She's like, you want some chickens? I'll get you some chickens. But they love the garden, and that's what I was so excited about, because when I came home first, as I said, the weeds were super high. There was like thistles and thorns every single where. And my in-laws, obviously my father-in-law couldn't do it. My poor mother-in-law tried to, but she wouldn't be very physically strong. So there was no way that was going to happen. And they were afraid to bring people in to do it. So unfortunately, one of the things that does happen here, there's a certain group of people that will go around and offer to, fix your fence or take away garbage or, cut the weeds or whatever. But what they're doing is they'll do it really, really cheap in the hopes that either A, you will give them more work, in which case they make more money and they can fleece you, or B, or 2, I can't remember if I said 1 or A. Anyway, 2A, yeah. The second reason, they're actually casing the place out to rob it, basically. And that's true. So this actually happened. My mother-in-law had some gentlemen knock at the door and offer to do a bit of work around the place. And she was really worried about this little tiny garden shed that they had that was becoming really dangerous. It was literally swaying in the wind. So she offered them some money to remove the garden shed and take away the trash. They said no problem. And that night she got broken into. So yeah, there's a good chance it was those guys casing the place out. And that's what happens. So I have a load of timber out the front of the house, and I was warned to be very careful of that because it's a natural attractant to these particular people. And right enough, yesterday I was out on my bike, and when I came home, there was two young men in the driveway talking to my mother-in-law, asking her if she wanted them to do any work or cut back any weeds or to take away the old timber. And she was like, talk to that man there. Left me hanging with these two dudes. And I was like, nah, man. I was like, me and all my buddies are here all the time. So, nah, we'll take care of it, man. And, yeah, I don't think they'll be coming back anytime soon. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. But anyway, as to the title of this video, it only took me, nearly 40 minutes to get to it. So before I left Australia, I was looking at ways of shipping our stuff back to Ireland, basically. And our biggest issue was that a lot of our stuff were things that we needed essentially pretty, not urgently, but, our day-to-day things. You guys look around the room you're in right now if you're at home and figure out how many things that you could be without. So for me, it was all of my my work equipment. So my two screens, my microphone, my camera, my lights, my keyboard, all that stuff. And then there was like all of my tools, my motorbike tools, my airbrushing equipment, my airbrushing canister, my everything, all of my stuff, absolutely everything I owned. For Jennifer, it was loads of her clothes, her boots, her like makeup stuff, hair dryer, the girl things. You guys know what I'm talking about. And so we looked into different ways of shipping it, and for sure the cheapest way to do it was to put it all on a shipping container and send it home. But the problem is that would take like 4 months, and we didn't have the time because we left Australia in a little bit of a rush. Not a crazy rush, but a little bit of a rush. So we wouldn't have had time to secure one and get it done. So we went to the Australia Post Office and asked them, and they said, yeah, we can ship everything, but you'll have to do it in individual boxes, which are a set size. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I had my guitar that was made for me. Oh, excuse me, by Gosh of Heckfire. My Darth Vader helmet, like everything. My ukulele, literally everything that I owned other than my clothing. And I was haunted, as we say in Ireland, which is a good thing. I was lucky that I had the thought to bring my my computer and one of my screens with me, and I sold the other screen because I just simply didn't have room. So I figured, okay, I'll bring one of my screens in my suitcase so that I can get straight back to work when I get home, and my microphone and camera and all that stuff. So I dedicated a whole suitcase to YouTube, and everything else that we owned in the world, every single thing, our everything, just, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like all of our stuff was in those boxes. So it was like 10 boxes total. 8 boxes total. And we sent them in 2 separate batches. So let's say on Monday, we sent 5 of them, and that was $500. And on Wednesday, I think it was, so it was like literally only 2 days between them, we sent the remaining 3 boxes, which was about $300, right? So it was a bit more actually because they were heavy, but anyway, it worked out just over $1,000, just over $1,000. And we were told it'll be in Ireland within 10 to 15 working days. And we were going to be home in Ireland within 9 working days. So we said, grand job, we'll get home, we'll be able to relax, and our boxes will come within the next week, which is perfect. A month went by and 1 box turned up, and it was soaked through. Everything in it was destroyed. Loads of Jen's coats and boots were completely just destroyed. And it stunk as well. It was atrocious, the smell that came from this fucking thing. And so we had to dump a whole load of that stuff. And so we rang them and we were like, what the hell? Like, you know, our box just came and it's destroyed. And he was like, yeah, but you didn't have the insurance on it. I was like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that you could just destroy your shit. But anyway, so that was the first box. And then a week later or so, this is like a week ago or like 10 days ago or something, the second box turned up from the second batch, right? So one box from the first batch turned up, and then one box from the second batch turned up. And we had some of our stuff, but nothing that we really needed straight away, which all of the important stuff was in the boxes that didn't come, of course, Murphy's Law. So anyway, we were like, what the hell? So we checked the tracking on the remaining 6 boxes, and they all said that they were in Portlaoise in Ireland, which is where the customs and excise department is. Now, I had 2 emails for the 2 boxes that I received that said that they passed through customs. There's nothing dodgy in the boxes or anything. So they passed through customs and they got to me. The other ones were held in customs for ages. And I rang them and I was like, hey, what's happening with my boxes? And they said, we can't give any details. So I'm like, uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. So a few days ago, I get another message, and it said that your boxes are on the way. So I was like, thank the flying spaghetti monster, finally the boxes are on the way. However, they weren't on the way to me. They were on the way back to Australia. And so I got a message that said that it had arrived in Melbourne. And I'm thinking, what is going on here? And then I had another message yesterday or the day before saying attempted delivery at our old address. So they returned it to the address that we used to live in. So I rang them straight away. I was like, what the hell? Where is our stuff? And they're like, it's in Perth now. Half of it's in Perth and half's in Melbourne. I was like, yeah, I know, but why? Why is it that way? So what had happened was, when we brought the 2 batches of boxes in, the lady at the post office only put the sticker with the barcode on the first box that we handed her and not on the rest of them. So essentially, when they got to Ireland, they were unreadable, they were unscannable. All I had was our address, but that's not good enough for international shipping, because she also ticked the international customs box for businesses instead of personal relocation. So it got bounced back to Australia, and we rang and they said, oh, you know, we'll sort it out, we'll send them back to you. And I said, yeah, and I want a refund. I went full Karen mode. I was like, I want a refund, because that's all our stuff, like all our stuff. And not to mention the fact that we paid $1,000 for the express shipping so that it would be home when we got there, and it's been 4 times as long as it was meant to be. Where the fuck is our stuff? So they said, oh yeah, we'll sort it out. Once it all gets to Perth, we'll send it back to Ireland. And I said, will you please make sure you actually put the right shit on it so we get it this time? They were like, yep, no problem. They didn't say anything about the refund. I'm still waiting to hear back from them for that. So I've got like a buzzing in my ear, driving me nuts. Anyway, so that was all well and good. And then yesterday I rang Australia Post again. And I said, hey, you know, just looking for an update on the refund and also an update on where our stuff is. And she said, okay, can you give me the tracking code, please? Click, 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 click. Oh, there's nothing showing for that. It says error. I said, what? She said, it says error. I was like, okay, that's not my problem. Where is my stuff? And she said, we don't know. Basically, we know where one of the boxes is. It's at the post office that I sent it from over a month and a half ago, nearly 2 months ago now. And the rest of them are untraceable. We don't know where they are. So then I said, look, that is all our stuff. Like, that is all our worldly possessions. So now not only have we lost $1,000 paying for this express, and then I was like, and the guy told me on the phone that there's no insurance, and she said, oh no, you are insured, but only for certain things. I was like, okay, well, does the insurance cover this? And she said, no, the insurance covers damage or loss. And I was like, yeah, but it's lost. And she said, oh yeah, but it's a different insurance because it had arrived in Ireland and didn't clear customs. and then it got sent back to Australia, so the insurance doesn't cover that portion of it. I was like, yeah, but it got sent back to Australia, which was your fault, you people's fault, Australia Post. They were like, oh, I know, but you know the legalities, yada yada. So I'm fighting with them about the compensation to get our stuff back, and I was like, but not only have we lost $1,000, we've lost all our stuff, and we've had to re-buy new things because like Jen needs new jackets. I needed to buy new screen. I needed to buy a whole load of new stuff that was supposed to come. And yeah, so we've got like nothing from them yet. No email, no nothing. And we rang the Irish Postal Service to ask them about it, and they were like, the guy was so cool. He was like, man, if there was something I could do, I would. And he was like, hold on, there is something I can do actually. I'll email them. So he emailed his contact in Australia Post to get the ball rolling. So hopefully it's going to start getting sorted out now. But that's all well and good. Getting your compensation, getting your money back for the loss of our stuff and for the cost of sending it is great, right? Fantastic. But the problem is that there are irreplaceable things in there. There's a knife that a friend made for me. There's the Darth Vader helmet that was sent to me. There's the guitar that was handmade for me by a fan of this show. There was all sorts of stuff that you guys have sent me over the past year and a half. And I said it to her, I was like, it's not about the value of the items at all. At all. It's the sentimental value of them. I put my trust in Australia Post to get that stuff to my house, which I was assured would happen. I got the insurance, and now I'm being told that the insurance doesn't cover that because of your mistake. And she was like, oh, I understand. And I was like, okay, well, are you going to do anything about it? But of course, no, they never do. Mr. Blart, oh, every time I'm going to have to read this out now, aren't I? It says, what about the Gimp suit and Sibian? What is a Sibian? I'm afraid to look up what a Sibian is. I feel like Jen's going to burst in the door and be like, don't Google that or the FBI will kick in our window. Hold on. Sibian. Wait, I spelled it wrong. That doesn't help. That is messed up. How do you even know what that is? A Sibian or a Sibian saddle is a device primarily designed for use by women. It consists of a hollow saddle-like seat containing two electric motors. Hold on. Here we go. Containing two electric motors, motor speed controller boards, gearing pulleys, and a platform on cranked axles, such that a ridge on the top of the unit can be made to vibrate through a range of speeds as set using a wired external hand controller and an upward pointing I hope my mother's not watching this because she watches my live streams. Sorry, Mom. An upward pointing shaft set at an angle through the ridge can be made to rotate at speeds from 0 RPM. Hold on. You can't rotate at 0 RPM though, can you? Because it's literally 0 rotations per minute. Of course, I would nerd out this disgusting thing that Mr. Malort is talking about. To speeds of 0 RPM to several hundred RPM. Where does it go? That's what I'm trying to... Oh, it goes up inside. Wouldn't that mix up your insides? You'd be... That would mix up your insides, surely, right? Like, that would do severe, like, damage. Anyway. Flexible molded attachments. I can't believe I'm reading this. This is Wikipedia, by the way, just so you know. Flexible molded attachments are supplied which fit over the vibrating ridge and shaft. I'm going to get demonetized if I read the next part. I can't believe this on Wikipedia. Flexible molded attachments are supplied which fit over the vibrating ridge and shaft, which mostly have integrated... rhymes with Milbows. Integrated Bilbo Baggins, if you get me, on their top. In use, the rider locates the that kind of that shape thing. You know what I'm talking about. into their body cavity for internal stimulation while pressing their external body parts on the vibrating ridge. Thank you, Mr. Malort, for sharing that with us. God, what is in my ear? I feel like an insect or something went in my ear this morning. It's like this awful buzzing. I actually surely expected to see an insect on my hand when I looked down there. Development. Let's find out about the development of this device. According to its inventor, Dave Lampert, the Sybian was first conceived in the 1970s and developed in 1983. God, he really mulled it over, didn't he? 13 years to come up with this thing. So basically, it's an upside down cake mixer, essentially, that you put a plastic willy on and do your whatever it is that Mr. Malort does with it. But how is it not destroying someone's insides if it's going around at that speed? Surely that can't be good for you. Like, anyway, a prototype was built in 1985 from sheet metal mounted on a wooden frame with a vibrator projecting through an opening inside the housing. A second prototype became the basis for current production models. Jesus. The name comes from the prefix Sib in Sibian was derived from Sybaris, an ancient Greek city in southern Italy, which was associated with luxurious living. It is currently manufactured, yada yada. From his research and experience, he said that it was awesome, basically. And I'm not reading that next bit. Let me see. Let's see how much one of these costs. Actually, Mr. Malort, you'll know. How much do they cost? They have them on Amazon. How handy. You can get it delivered right to the door. Oh, that's a fancy looking one. That's got all the attachments in a range of sizes. Oh, mother of God. Okay. Oh, Jesus. There's... There's an example picture, and it's kind of like when I did the live Omegle, basically, is what it... Oh, so that's how it works. I'm just going to say, I thought it was a totally different kind of contraption, but let's see. Oh, currently unavailable. Shucks. That's because Mr. Malort burnt all his out and bought new ones. I'm going to look up how much they cost. Lovehoney.eu. All right. I thought that was for, beekeeping enthusiasts. Anyway, €849. What? I'll do it for free. Oh my God, €849. Cloud9 F slider ride on sex chair. I hope my mom and my uncle Brendan are not watching this live stream. Oh, Jesus. I mean, look. 850 quid for a Cloud9 F slider ride-on. I could buy a ride-on lawnmower for that and have way more fun. That is absurd. Oh my God. Okay, that's enough for the... Hey, look, each to their own, right? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. What is going on with my ear hole, bro? I gotta put an ear thing in because this is irritating me. It might have been when I got out of the shower. I think I left some water in there, maybe. But anyway, Mr. Malort, if you like them, my friend, and you want to do your whatever it is you want to do, I know you got the whole thing. Mr. Malort's upset at the moment with me because I mocked him for the fact that OnlyFans no longer does that kind of stuff, and now he needs to go back to teaching. Anyway, Judy Bassett, my dear friend, thank you so much for super chat with no message for €10. Really appreciate it, Judy, and again, I really appreciate all your support always. It goes an awful long way. Thank you so much. I don't know why that machine has got pulleys. Let me see. Ken Dalton says it goes, but does go, if you get me. I do get you, kind of. But I want no part of it. Thor Rasmussen, great to see you, my friend. For 50 dicks, which is kind of ironic considering what we were talking about. It says, good afternoon, good sir. Sad to hear about your trouble. I hope all works out okay for you guys. Thank you so much, Thor. And again, another person who's been with the channel for literally years now. So thank you so much, Thor. I'm sure they'll figure it out. I mean, you know, 6 big boxes of awesome shit doesn't just go missing. So, you know, I do hope they'll get it sorted out. My guess is that it's probably mid transit back to Perth, all of the stuff from Melbourne to Perth, and because it was a return, maybe there's a different tracking number or something like that. But hopefully we'll find out more on Monday, which would be like Sunday night my time. I'll give the ring and I'll let you guys know what happens. But thank you so much. And Mr. Malort says, I was looking out for Jen. If I came near her with one of those machines, I would probably be immediately annihilated. I what needs to go through someone's head to look at sheet metal and rubber gentleman's parts and say, yep, I'm going to stick those together and put electricity through it and a motor that spins around at hundreds of revolutions per minute. It's an upside down cake mixer. Like, I mean, it's literally just an upside down cake mixer. It moves up and down and it spins around, and you just put a rubber thing on it instead of a whisker, right? There you go. 50 quid for a good mixer down in Argos there, and you got yourself one of these things that Mr. Malort was forcing me to look up. All right, let's look up. Is there any other funny? Mr. Malort, what other weird stuff do you know about that the rest of us probably don't that I can look up? What about the Love Honey Love Motion remote control warming thrusting machine? Wow. I did see a video once. Not to shock again, if you're watching, sorry, but somebody sent me a video once, not of them, just a video that they came across upon the internet of somebody doing something like that with a drill. So basically they attached a rubber gentleman's sausage onto a drill, and it was a hammer drill. I suppose that makes sense. And it didn't go well for that person. Yeah, it didn't go well. Basically, to make a long story short, to make something else short, in his case, the gentleman that was using this particular apparatus that he had invented didn't apply enough, shall we say, fluids to ensure that something wouldn't get stuck. I think you're all adults here. Well, this channel is adult only anyway, so you should be able to follow along with what I'm trying to say. Basically, the drill, if any of you folks out there have ever used a drill, not in that way, to drill into a wall or into a big piece of timber, and you hit a hard spot and it bucks, basically. The drill kind of goes like that, and it shoots the opposite direction to where it should go. And that's what happened. And let's just say that it took grasp of his plums and spun them into a direction and length that they were not originally in. And that's the most YouTube safe way that I can say that he got his thingamajigs stuck in a drill, basically. And there you go. That was arguably one of the most shocking things I've ever seen. Not the most shocking thing I ever seen. In fact, the most shocking thing I ever seen would probably get my channel shut down immediately if I even began to explain. Basically, that's what happened, Copper Wasp. There was some friction welding involved. It's like that thing. It's like, I don't know what to do. My girlfriend just started smoking. Well, slow down and put on a bit of lube. But anyway, so yeah, all of our stuff is in the ether at the moment. But I'm hopeful that they'll get it sorted out. I mean, Australia Post is a modern postal service. They're really good. They are really, really good generally. I've never had issues with them before, and the people I've spoken to have been as helpful as I think they can be. But yeah, I just checked with the tracking just before we started the live stream in case I'd have an update for you, and it literally just says nothing found. So I just don't know. I just don't know. And the thing is, like, the stuff that we've had to rebuy has just been the stuff that we've needed. And so I think it's shown us that we probably didn't need as much stuff as we thought we did. But there's a lot of very sentimental things in there, some of which has substantial value, not excessive value, but some of it has substantial value. Things that some of you folks have sent me that I cherish, you know what I mean? Like, I really do cherish a lot of the awesome gifts that I've received from you guys, because you have to understand, from my perspective, even if it's just a card, or it doesn't matter what it is, if I'm receiving it from somebody who's, telling me that they love my channel and that they enjoy watching me live and that they enjoy, my videos and my everything, like, that's so important to me. That's a dream come true for me. If I can walk into a room, or in this scenario, a virtual room, and give you guys a laugh, and you guys see me as I really am, that's why I love the live streams, because this is how I am. I don't put it on. I don't I don't kind of thicken up the jokes or act differently than I do in real life. This is just literally who I am. And I'm sure it can be tiring for some people. But what is that noise? What is that noise? Can you guys hear that? Oh my god. Ooh. That gave me a bit of a fright there. Oh, the last time I heard a noise like that, I nearly burnt my house down. You guys all saw the sparkler incident. It kind of sounded like when the sparkler was starting to fizz out, and I thought it was all good, and then it restarted again. It was just, and I was like, "Oh Jesus, here we go." But I didn't light any sparklers. What am I talking about? Holy fuck! I haven't lit a sparkler in months. I'm banned from sparklers. Mrs. Demon said that if I bought a sparkler again, she'd sell my motorbike for how much I said I paid for it. I hope she's not watching. Where I saw I saw somebody there that I haven't seen in a while. Mr. Clive Wells, good to see you, my friend. Says, "Hi, I'm back. Did Irish lose his donut shipment?" I did. I did. I lost him right down there. And that's the thing. I know people make the donut jokes. I'm not gone on donuts. I'm like, I can take them or leave them. I don't mind them. I don't dislike them, but I wouldn't go out of my way to buy donuts. What I do like is pavlova. I had it last night. I love pavlova and I love trifle. They're my two favorite desserts. So if any of you are ever going to have me in your home and you want to keep me happy, keep me stocked up with dried meats. That legitimately is my favorite food now. Thank you, Hansi, if you're watching. Dried meat and pavlova or trifle, or a selection of both. And I will probably never leave your house. I love pavlova. Well, I got one last night. It's the first time I've had it in years, and I brought it to my parents' house. Fresh fruit pavlova with wild berries. Oh, fresh cream. I missed fresh cream so much. Cream in Australia is not the same as cream in Ireland. Oh my god. When we came home, Jen made a cake, and I was whizzing the cream with that Sylvia thing, upside down fucking dildo thing. I was whizzing the cream, and I was like, oh boy, it was amazing. It was so different. Even milk, like, I never drink milk like just straight. I never liked it. I was just like, nah, never liked it. And then when I came home, I think what had happened, because as you guys know, I can't eat very much anymore. So I had a big surgery where I had to have a big portion of my stomach removed. And also with the kind of medication that I'm on for the ADHD, I don't really get hungry, and so I don't really eat much during the day. I kind of eat very early in the morning or late at night, which I probably shouldn't do. But I get what I need into me, and but not in the way that Mr. Malort does. Totally different kind of meat. Anyway, And yeah, one morning I woke up and I felt really sick in my stomach because I hadn't eaten at all the day before, and I had been working non-stop in the garden. Like I was moving gravel, I was changing doors, I built a shed, not a shed, sorry, a fence, and I dug up a whole garden bed all in one day because it was a beautiful day and the evenings are so long. It was great, but I didn't eat anything at all day. I literally drank coffee and water all day long. That was it. And I woke up the following morning and I was like, I was like, it was like I had been made into human jerky. I was so stiff. Like the lactic acid buildup. Because, of course, on top of being stiff from doing all that hard work, I also wasn't drinking probably enough water because I can only drink a little bit at a time. I wasn't getting any protein that day. I wasn't getting anything at all day long other than caffeine and water. And I was drinking black coffee. And and then I woke up in the morning in so much pain. It was delayed onset muscle soreness from the day before that as well. And it all hit together. And I was like, ah, so sore. But to make it worse, I was outrageously hungry because, as I said, I hadn't eaten at all the day before. But on top of that, I had such a huge urge for protein because of so much, muscular work, I suppose. And but I would get sick if I ate something that early in the morning. It would genuinely make me feel like throwing up. So Jen was like, "Why not have a glass of milk?" I was like, "I can't drink a glass of milk. That no way." The thought of it. Bleh. She was like, "Look, it'll be better. Just drink the glass of milk with your tablet or whatever, and then you'll be fine." So I was like, "Fine, fine, fine." So she got me a glass of milk, and first time I've ever drunk just a plain glass of milk. Would you believe? Since I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and I drank the milk, and I was like, holy shit, that tastes amazing. Like, I don't even like milk in my cereal. Like, I put the milk on, and when I eat it, I drain the milk off the spoon before I eat it. That's because I never really liked milk. And then I was like, oh my God, that's incredible. I had one sip of milk before when we were in Australia, and it was awful. So I was like, nah, never again. And then I drank that milk. I was like, oh my God, that's so good. And then I found out they have like a high protein milk. So I'm in great shape when it comes to availability of stuff that I can keep myself healthy with and all that stuff. Luke Pie Stalker says, "Hey Sean, good to see you, Luke. I hope you're doing well, man." Um, Eric Fox says, "Anyone ever eaten kangaroo?" Yes, I have on a couple of occasions. I actually had kangaroo cooked in the traditional style by local Aboriginal elders when I was working out in the bush, in the deep, deep bush. And basically, it depends on the time of year and the requirements of the community. So, for example, in this particular community, it was quite a small community of about maybe 30 or 40 people. And they had, where they lived, it was a huge distance to the hunting grounds because the water was there. And then there was a bigger water source further away that was perfect for hunting, but not good for living. I don't know why. They tried to explain it to me, but I wouldn't have a clue. So anyway, they would walk for like 5 or 6 hours to their hunting ground to get kangaroo. And rather than bring back the whole carcass, they would just bring back the tails. And the reason they would do that is because obviously it was quicker and easier to just carry the tails back. But also the tail is where all the good meat is and the thick, thick pieces of meat. But then if it was a time where, food was a bit more scarce or whatever, like in the really high heat of the summer, for example, whereas in the winter, it's really easy to hunt kangaroo. In the summer, it's much harder. They would actually go out in bigger groups and they would bring whole kangaroos home and stuff like that. So yeah, I had kangaroo and emu both cooked in the traditional way. Kangaroo's tail, emu's leg, and possibly breast. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I've had both of those. I had kangaroo burgers, kangaroo mincemeat. Not a fan of it. I've got to be honest. It was okay, but yeah, it wasn't for me. It was a bit. I thought it would be more gamey flavored, kind of like deer or something, or duck even, that kind of gamey flavor. But no, it wasn't at all. It was actually quite like lamb, kind of like lamb or beef kind of. And yeah, it was fine. I wouldn't it's very, very lean as well, so there's not a lot of flavor in it. Emu, on the other hand, was quite nice. I really enjoyed that. I had crocodile, saltwater crocodile. That was exactly what you would think it would taste like, right? Literally a cross between chicken and fish. And I know that's like the stereotypical thing to say. It's much it's tougher than fish, but it's squidgier at the same time, but not in a disgusting way. It's kind of like, oh, it's so hard to explain. It's just a thing in its own, really. And it's funny because when I ate crocodile for the first time, I've eaten it a few times because I actually really, really liked it. When I ate crocodile for the first time, um, weirdly, the very first person that entered my head was Aaron Ra. And the reason he came into my head is I was thinking, this tastes exactly how I would imagine it would, because it's literally like a relative of a bird, right? I know that sounds weird, but like, a lizard and bird. It's hard to explain. Phylogenetics, basically. But it lives in the water and it eats fish and all sorts. So obviously it's going to have that perfect cross and taste. So I was like, that's exactly how I imagined it would taste. And it did. It was really nice. I had it in a place up in the northwest of Australia, out in the middle of nowhere. I can't remember what it was called, but there was this beautiful, um, like fancy restaurant in the middle of nowhere, and it was like a place to go to. I can't remember what it was called. Oh, it was called the Pot Shot, maybe. Anyway, and they had a meal on their menu called Snap, Surf, and Turf, and they had Snap and Snappier, which was awesome. So Snap, Surf, and Turf was um, crocodile, crocodile, was crocodile, some kind of whitefish. I don't know what it was, and beef. And then the Snap and Snappier was crocodile and snapper. And it was so good. It was so good. Um, but apparently it's got like really high levels of something that's bad for you. But I don't know. But anyway, it was really, really nice. So anyway, lads and lassies, I've got to get out of here because I've got to hit the road in the next 20 minutes or so to go sell my my motorbike. I'm going to miss it, actually. I thoroughly enjoyed that motorbike, so it's going to be hard to see it go, but at the same time, it needs to happen so that I can get the bike I need. Oh, briefly before I go, stay with me. Stay with me. So as you guys know, when I got demonetized, I set up a second channel. And I can't thank Team Skeptic, Johnny O, JL Warren, PhD Tony, who else was involved? FTFE, and all of you folks that watch my channel. I can't thank you guys enough for pushing me to set up that second channel. Because if I hadn't have done that, I would have given up YouTube. And it was awesome having the second Irish Demon channel. But I'm going to tell you guys this right now. It's not going to be Irish Demon Reloaded anymore. And the reason I'm doing that is because I guess at the moment, for what I want to do, I only really have time to make these types of videos and live streams on one channel. So that's going to be on this channel. So Irish Demon, me, as you know me, the type of content I make is going to all be on this channel from now on. Unless I get demonetized again. Touch wood. So what you're going to see more of as time goes by is, the usual stuff, debunking flat earth, all that kind of thing. But also I'm going to try to get some more Karen stuff going because people seem to really like that. And the other thing is I'm finally relenting, and I'm going to start covering Sovsits. The reason I've always put it off, I know how well these videos do, and I know it would bring me to the next level. When you have friends that cover these things that have 100,000 subscribers, it's the right kind of thing to cover. But my problem is that having worked in the custody environment for 4 years, as I worked as like kind of a court clerk, kind of crossed with the counter-terrorism team, security team, and custody team. You deal with Sovsits every single day, multiple times a day. So it's like if you were a baker and you had to bake cakes for 12 hours a day, and then you had to come home and do videos about baking cakes, it might get a bit, boring. But anytime I watch these Savsit videos and I'm sitting here watching them with Jen or whatever, and I'm like, see this fucking guy, this, and I'm giving out things. She was like, you need to record these reactions because, you see, I guess I have a unique insight that some others that make these videos would do, and it would be my reaction, I guess, would be slightly different, not because of the legality. So some people do the videos where they respond, like auditing the auditors or whatever, where they respond to the legal questions involved. I don't really care about that kind of stuff. For me, it's the interpersonal stuff because I've literally physically dealt with these people, and I'm talking every day, like every single day. I can't remember a day where I was at work that I didn't have a sob sit of some description. Um, and some of them, I will always be honest, some of them had some very valid points. And I agreed with what some of them said. Like, I really did. And that's where I differ, I guess, from the legal guys. Because the letter of the law, I mean, we all know the letter of the law is not what's always in people's best interests, right? Like, like cannabis being illegal in Ireland, like people go to jail in this country, what is considered one of the most progressive countries in the world, one of the most forward looking countries in Europe, a former Catholic stronghold, which is now one of the fastest growing atheist countries in the world, with some of the most progressive policies. And I know some of you Irish folks watching will disagree with a lot of it. They're still holding back on such stupid shit to hold on to the old vote, the older folks vote. It's like you need to be pushing for the young people, man. You know what I mean? Like, things have been legalized here for the first time that had never been legalized anywhere else before, like same-sex marriage. A lot of people were against it. There's no doubt. You're going to get that in every country. But the vast, overwhelming majority of people in Ireland were, well, it wasn't necessarily overwhelming, but anybody that I knew, I don't think I knew anybody that was against same-sex marriage. And I mix with all sorts. Like I'm in many different circles, like a lot of older people. And it means that, my cousin was able to get married. It means that my friend that I grew up with, he's able to get married to his partner next year. It's awesome. But anyway, the letter of the law is not always right. I mean, it might be the law. It doesn't mean it's right. So yeah, I'll be able to look at it from a different level. And just briefly before I go, so what's going to end up happening with the Irish Demon Reloaded channel? So as you guys know, I've got 3 channels. So I've got Irish Demon, which you're watching me on right now. I've got Irish Demon Reloaded, which it's called for now. And I've got The Lost Irishman. So what's going to happen is Irish Demon Reloaded is going to become The Lost Irishman. So the name The Lost Irishman is going on to the Irish Demon Reloaded channel. So I'm rebranding that channel essentially. And that's going to become the channel where I'm going to have the motorbike. I'm going to go out around the country and do documentaries and show you guys some of the awesome stuff that this country has to offer, but also some of the dark and horrible shit that this country has too. I've been networking so much, and I've been working so hard, guys. I mean, I tend to try not to puff myself up, but I can honestly say I've worked so hard on this project. I have 2 I don't know what other way to say it, 2 prostitutes that are going to be giving me an interview. So I'm going to be sitting down with them and talking about what it's like. One of them is works for herself now, and she's doing really well. The other one was trafficked into the country and is essentially still on the run from the people that she owes money to. So they're both giving me an interview, which I'm extremely thankful for, because this stuff isn't talked about enough. These are people that fall through the cracks in every country. Another one is a man who lives in a local village here. He's from Afghanistan, and he moved to Ireland for 2 reasons. He was trying to get away from the Taliban, obviously, and the other reason was because he has a family in Afghanistan. He's got a wife and kids there. So he was moving to Ireland to try to secure a future for his family because of how bad things were. Unfortunately for him, since he came here, obviously all this stuff has happened in Afghanistan. His family are stuck there. This man is a member of the community in this village. He's got a restaurant. He is adored by the community. And it's one thing I love about this country. You'll always get the, oh, we don't have enough room, blah, blah, blah. You always get those people. But overwhelmingly, if somebody comes into this country as a refugee looking for help, man, does the community get around them. I love it. I fucking love it. But anyway, so that's another interview I have. So I'll be going down to him, talking to him about what's going on down there. I actually had a couple of friends who were in Afghanistan during the fall of Kabul, as it's being called. And thankfully they've all gotten out. So that's a huge relief. One was a medical aid worker, and she was one of the first people out because they were trying to get women out as quickly as possible because they were the ones at greatest risk, obviously. And her being an Australian citizen, dual citizen, Australian Afghan, it would have put her in a dangerous position. So she got out. Two other friends got out. One of who was removed pretty early too because of his sexuality. So obviously he would have been a massive target as well. The other one got injured. Not in a, he wasn't attacked or anything, but he had a relatively minor injury. It was not a stampede, but there was like a lot of people around. He fell over basically, and I think something rolled over his leg. I haven't really talked to him properly. He's not been. It's difficult for him because he's still got family there, and I don't want to intrude. You know what I mean? I've sent him messages of support, and he's been thankful for it, but I don't want to push too much. So anyway, yeah. So thankfully, my friends that I know have gotten out, but I there's not a day goes by that I don't think about the people that are stuck behind there, man. Not just the people like American or Australian citizens or whatever, but just the people that live there. I've seen some horrible stuff already come out of there. But anyway, that's another story for another time. Another interview I've got is with a guy called Pat Noone. I advise you to check him out on YouTube. Noone is his last name. He is a farmer and a land healer who works with the fairies, and he's got fairies on his farm. So we're going to be going up and actually camping in a fairy field, where we're going to do some overnight filming and things like that. So that's going to be awesome. Another lady, there's loads of stuff. We have so many of them set up and ready to go, guys. I can't wait to get it going. So I'll be working on that channel later today. I'll be doing an intro, a proper new intro. And the other thing that I just going to put out there for anybody who may be interested in it, I'm going to be setting up a Kickstarter. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's not that there's like a significant cost in getting going with making these documentaries, but there's a reasonable cost. And with all that's on my shoulders at the moment in terms of, I've got a lot of outlay at the moment. I won't get into it, but I've got a lot of outlay with regard to work that I need to do. I don't want to get into it. It's not my place to say, but so I'm going to be doing a relatively small Kickstarter. And basically what I want to try to do is I want to try to do the Kickstarter to fund a better camera for doing the documentaries, and just for like transport or any kind of other costs that might pop up, just so that I have enough money to film enough of them to keep us going through the winter, essentially. And that hopefully you guys will fall in love with the videos and they'll go viral and everybody will love them and it'll be great. That's the plan. So, I'm going to give it my best shot. So I'll be setting up that Kickstarter probably in the next couple of days. If anybody would like to become involved, then I would really appreciate you going on there, and I'll have very low thresholds anyway. So if people want to just give a couple of bucks or whatever towards it, then that would be great. Even though it's a fundraiser, it's not like a charity fundraiser or anything. So there probably won't be like an itemized list. It'll just be incidentals or whatever. So I know I need a better camera, and I know I need like a better microphone and things like that so that I can make the best quality videos possible for that purpose. And I aim to give back what I get in terms of producing the best stuff that I can, showing you guys the stuff that nobody sees. So that's the plan with that. I'm super excited to get started. The motorbike is going to be my main mode of transport for those videos. It's going to kind of tie into the whole thing. It won't be my only mode of transport. I have a van, and I have, my brother and myself share my dad's other car. It's a long story. And I have transport. There's no problem there, but just to help out to get the videos on the road, basically, because it's more expensive. There's a lot more cost involved in making those videos than there is just me sitting in front of a camera saying hello and talking and telling you guys all the stories or whatever. that Kickstarter is going to be started up probably today or tomorrow. And if anybody wants to get involved, I'd really appreciate it. If you would like to kind of invest in the new channel or donate privately, the best way to do it is through PayPal, if that's something that interests you. If that is something, if anybody is interested in becoming involved in the projects as an investor, or like not so much an investor, but just, yeah, you guys know what I mean. If you want to get involved with it and it's something you'd like to do, and if you want to donate to help get it up and running, then, you know, once I make these documentaries, I'm going to make them proper, like good quality documentaries, and people will be credited at the end and things like that. So, and it'll hopefully get this beautiful country out to the rest of you so you can all see it. And before I go, YouTube Surgeon General, good to see you, my friend, says for $10 US. Thank you so much, by the way. Meep meep. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, like a producer, exactly. So if anybody is interested in that, guys, Irish Demon, irishdemonvids@gmail.com on PayPal. Or if you guys want to wait till I have the Kickstarter set up, then I'd really appreciate that. I might do like a Kickstarter drive over on that channel. And yeah, so if anybody wants to get involved in the documentary projects, the goal of it is to show Ireland to everybody, the good and the bad. I want to show you the beautiful, the wonderful, the exciting, the amazing, interesting, quirky things that we have here, but also the dark side, because it needs to be acknowledged that while Ireland is stunning, and I, driving up the mountain yesterday, it took my breath away so many times. And while the people are friendly and beautiful and kind and loving and warm and welcoming, and it's an amazing country. I love this country so much. There is a dark side, as with everything. You know, the sectarian violence in the north, the drug crime in some of our big cities, the violence, the suicide epidemic that we have here at the moment. Lots of things. There's lots of dark stuff too. And so I want to share that with you guys too. So I hope that's something you'll be interested in. Kickstarter will be starting hopefully tomorrow, or you can do it, as I said, through PayPal or Super Chat if you want. Either way, whatever works. And I'll kind of put it all into the kitty. It won't be a huge amount of money that I'll need to get going. I'm going to get started even without it, but it's just to kind of help me on the way, basically. But anyway, lads and lasses, I do have to go because I have a prior appointment. And I hope you all have a great day. It's great to be back home. It's great to be back making videos. It's great to see all of your names popping up in the side chat that I've seen pop up for so long. And yeah. It's awesome. Thank you so much for your continuing support. Mrs. Demon told me to say thank you so much as well. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. I might even try to do another live stream later. We'll see how it goes. But anyway. Oh, wait, sorry, before I go, Matthew Forrest says, I've been super interested in my Irish history because I'm not considered Irish here, or that they were Irish because they were Protestant. So, oh yeah, they were Orangemen. Okay, so basically, Orangemen are Irishmen who dress like Englishmen. Orangemen are Irishmen who dress like Scottishmen who think they're Englishmen who support a Dutchman. It's a long story. Look up the Orange Order in Northern Ireland. You'll know what I'm talking about. But look, the whole history of the Catholic Protestant stuff in Ireland is still very much alive today, unfortunately. It's still a huge part of the trouble in the north of our great country. I sounded like Trump there. Great country. But seriously, you know, it's just a different kind of Irish, but they're still Irish. You know what I mean? They're British. I agree, they are British, but they're also Irish. You know what I mean? They're a bit of a nice mix. But yeah, we'll all catch up again later. Hopefully today, actually. I might, if I'm feeling up to it later, depending on how long I'll be on the road. I would love to catch up with you guys again and keep this fun going and have a great day. Oh, before we go, YouTube Surgeon General again, thank you so much for $10 says, meep meep is a misquote. Wow, beep beep. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be beep beeping right now because I got to roll. Lads and lassies, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you in the next one. Slán go fóill.